So if you've spent more than 5 minutes digging into alternative history online, you've definitely run into it. The infamous 1871 letter from Albert Pike to Giuseppe Mazzini, predicting 3 world wars with terrifying accuracy. It's touted as the ultimate blueprint for global control. There's only one problem. Albert Pike, he never wrote it. The text we read online today was actually retrofitted in the 1950s, using modern terms like Nazism and Zionism that didn't even exist in 1871. It was a massive, multi-layered historical hoax. But here's the real mystery. Why did the mainstream media and orthodox institutions work so hard to make Albert Pike look like a cartoon villain? Because if you look at what Pike actually wrote in his real work, Morals and Dogma, he wasn't plotting what it was. He was tracking a hidden, universal code of human consciousness. And that is the code they did not want you to crack. Pike understood something the ancient Gnostics knew, and something the oldest text on earth, the Sumerian clay tablets, spelled out clearly. In the ancient Mesopotamian epics, you have 2 forces. Enlil, the rigid authority figure who wanted humanity to remain an unconscious, obedient labor force, and Enki, the firstborn, the master scientist who rebelled to give humanity the genetic spark of divine knowledge and self-awareness. When the orthodox structures consolidated power centuries later, they pulled off the ultimate linguistic hijack. They took the archetype of the teacher, the morning star, the bringer of intellect, and they turned it into a horned monster called the devil. Even worse, they took the ancient Greek word Daimon, which meant your higher self, your inner spark of genius and intuition, and they rebranded it as demon. Think about the genius of that trap. If they can convince you that your own inner voice of higher consciousness is an evil entity trying to possess you, you will never look inside for answers. You are officially, spiritually captured. So how do you break out of the captivity? When you stop treating this like ancient history, and you start treating it like biological hardware. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about entering the infinite quantum void by becoming nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, in no time. What he's describing is the exact process of taking the brakes off a third density brain. But there's a trap here that catches a lot of people in the esoteric space. It's called spiritual bypass, becoming so infatuated with higher dimensions, ancient images, and escaping the matrix that you neglect the physical life you're actually living. There is an old Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. True alchemy isn't about escaping into the light forever. Enki wasn't just a master of the deep spiritual waters. He was a master architect who built cities, engineered agriculture, and practically organized civilization. The ultimate state of human evolution is being able to drop into the formless void during your deep practice, and then pulling your awareness back up into the physical matrix, walking around in everyday life, fully aware that you are a master, the source of learning. And when you learn to bridge those 2 worlds sober, your nervous system enters a state of absolute coherence. Your brain hemispheres synchronize and fire a massive sustained surge of gamma brainwaves. The gamma surge is exactly the same neurological phenomenon caught on EEG monitors during near-death experiences. The threshold of death in the body's physical systems fail, the brain unleashes a massive tidal wave of hyperconsciousness. That's why people report a reality that is more real than real. But you don't have to drop dead to touch the source. When you sit in deep, sober meditation and completely dissolve the traveler, you are voluntarily running the code of the universe through your biological will. You are training the transition. You are practicing how to stay awake when the physical anchor lets go. Look, you don't need to put on a robe, sit on a pedestal, or call yourself an ascended master of demons. Carrying an identity that big just keeps you too heavy to fit through the door of the void anyway. Be a mechanic of your own consciousness. Grab the clinical frameworks, understand the neuroscience, master your breath, and touch the infinite. And then, open your eyes, put your boots back on, and go handle your daily life. Hold the cosmic view, and keep your feet firmly planted in the dirt. If you're ready to start building the organic wiring to hold that frequency sober, hit subscribe, check out the protocols at nogoodbreathing.com, and let's get to work. Keep chopping wood. See you in the next shit.